What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasted live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada, and here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you this evening?
Oh man, I'm excited to talk to you, and we got a great guest today. NBA Finals are in full swing, and we've seen some high-level basketball.
Man, we got one of our favorite guests coming on. We got Coach Richard Goodman. Gonna bring him in now, man. We start from the past and talk about the last game. We want him a part of the whole conversation. How you doing this morning, Coach?
I'm good. Thanks, guys. Every day's a struggle, but every day's different, but I'm here.
Really appreciate you, taking time to come on here, man. We know you're dealing with some stuff right now, some, things that you're trying to get situated and making time for us really means a lot to us. We appreciate your basketball knowledge, man. And let's get right to it. We got to get to the thoughts about the last game first. It was in the past we got Heat plus 9. I took Heat plus 9, but remember the whole system cut off spread after I took the Heat to
Oh
win the
yeah,
series in 6 at plus 985. I think that your bookie got mad at you and cut off the power, so we didn't get a chance to finish that. But I did tweet out that we were taking the Heat plus 9. What did you see in the last game, Coach? What adjustments did you see from Eric Spoelstra that made life difficult on the Nuggets?
Well, are we going to talk the untrained eye or the trained eye?
I
You know, we
love
all
it.
got we all got called out. You know, Spo was very conscientious about not lighting up the dudes. He protected Tatum when they asked him in his press conference, and he's trying to protect Jokic. Let's let the bear lie. But I tweeted day before the game that he had to take something away.
Yeah,
And if you look back, it looked like to me he had to. There's nothing you can do with Jokic. He's going to get his production, whether it's with the pass or the ball in the hoop, one way or the other. So you got to take something away. And Spo basically schemed and played and switched, even switched guards onto him, and made him a scorer and took everything else down. I thought the key was when they started Love, they were allowed to put Butler on Murray, and that softened his production. But I don't think that was the game. See, Miami was plus 16 in the 3 line and won by 3. Miami
yep.
lost the game on their approach when they first came out. You got a team that had a couple shooters not making shots. They struggled game 1. And then Murray and KCP and who's the other? Porter
Michael Porter
come.
Jr. Yep.
Yeah, they come out and start the game lazy, trying to just switch everything, point with fingers. You got him, I got him, and they played soft and let a couple shooters get in rhythm, and then they got a problem on their hands. They lost the game on the defensive end, and they lost the game on their approach in the first quarter and the third quarter. How you come out flat in the finals game is beyond me. That's maturity. See,
Right.
and I'm looking forward to tonight to see the first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes is going to tell us what kind of film session Denver had in the last couple of days.
And do you remember that after that game when you tweeted about what adjustments happens, what do we see from game 1? I told you, remember I said the guys were wide open. They just missed for Miami. Like
But but
literally, guys
but
were
but
wide open the whole game for game 1. They just were missing.
but see that's role players. Role players are
Yeah,
role players because they're inconsistent. Now
exactly.
now what Spo did the last game, he 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 kept connected to the three ball shooters. Porter and KCP, their looks were contested. See, that's why I was kind of surprised by Spo's comment, untrained eyes. Well, it was obvious you were letting Joker be a scorer because you were switching 1 through 5 and let guards switch on him. You switch a guard on Joker, he now becomes a scorer. But what they did was they stayed connected to the shooters. Porter and KCP looks were contested. That makes a big difference. But Porter allowed his offense misses leak into his defense. But they lost the game on the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion.
What you got, spread?
yeah. I agree with you. Spoelstra's smart, not allowing. Right, he's not going to give them that bulletin board material, and not just going to be completely obvious. But you had it on the head. The one thing I wanted to point out, I think the Nuggets missed a lot of wide open shots too in game
They
1,
did.
and I think that's why I got game 2 wrong. I thought Denver was going to win easily again because when I watched game 1 and I saw the box score, and I said, okay, Miami's got to shoot better. Then when I saw it, I said, well, Denver missed a lot of wide open shots too. That's why I was telling you, Coach, before we went on, I think this is a tough game to handicap tonight, just because of the inconsistency we've seen from Denver. Now, we've seen Miami play great offensively. Have we seen the best from Denver? I don't think so. This isn't anywhere near what they were showing against the Lakers. Is the Heat defense that much better? I didn't expect it to be, but maybe it is.
You know what Spo does? Spo's a lot like Belichick. He's not. Exactly. He's going to make you beat him. He's not going to give you the game. You got to beat me, and a lot of times that works. And I mean, the Miami Heat. Look, I've been wrong on them all the way through. You know, they're still a plus 270 in the series. They're plus 3 tonight at home. You got the zigzag and play tonight with the wise guys. So I see where the money's going. Most of the money's going Denver, but a lot of it has to do with the zigzag scheme. So we have to be careful. But tonight might be simple. Excuse me. Tonight might be a very simple make or miss game. Who makes shots and who don't.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's go on and get to the present, Fred, and talk about tonight's game.
All right. Miami, as Coach said, out to plus 3, right? And I think this opened around -2. I wasn't sitting right by my sportsbook when it opened, but I know, as Coach said, Denver's taking money. The line is moving in their direction. And let me see where this total is sitting at. Because 214.5, -3 right now. It looks like Miami's taking a little comeback. If you like Denver, it looks like a plus 2.5 will be available here before tip. What are your thoughts? We'll start with you, 5-star. Heat plus 3 tonight. Total 214.5. Also some interesting prop opportunities.
You know, I've been one of the rare people that's been on the Heat wave. The only time we faded them was the first game that they lost. Remember, we went with who was that? Atlanta? Was that Atlanta? I think way back when the playoffs kicked off. But besides that, we've been riding with the Heat with the points most of the way through the Bucks series, through the Knicks. We said that they were going to win that series, and then they get through the finals with Boston. We hit it plus 400 and at plus 2.5 games for the series. It boils down to pretty much what Coach said. He's the Belichick of the NBA, and right now he's coaching at such a different level that he's able to put his guys in position where as long as they execute, they're going to get a favorable outcome. The line's even showing you that with the plus 3. That looks like an NFL line, right? Beg you to give up the -3. And I also feel like this is a situation where Heat represent old school basketball, the basketball that all three of us kind of grew up watching, where it was about a dominant player, it was about playing defense, and it was about great coaching. And whereas Denver plays the new style of basketball, which is kind of free flowing, everyone is pretty much a part of the offense. You got a center that's pretty much playing the point guard. It's just a different type of ball that they play. It's more the Euro style basketball. So it's a clash of cultures, and we're going to see which culture wins. But through our lifetime in the NBA, what we saw is the style that Miami plays, which comes all the way down from the Godfather, Pat Riley. Has really always been successful in these type of situations, and I expect them to come through tonight and win. Actually, I'm going to be on the Heat. I'll give it out in the ball and parlay, but I like to be a guy that goes against the norm. You know how I bet. I don't bet.
I know.
If everybody's saying it, I don't want it. I mean, I don't want it.
Too many people on the Nuggets. Worried. We might be.
Everybody on the Nuggets. Too many people on the Nuggets. Give me the Heat, man. Give me the Heat.
The problem you have tonight, though, and you're right, the public usually is wrong, but you got the zigzag system tonight. That's the problem. See, you're not getting a real number tonight because of the zigzag. The real number in this game probably should be 1.5 Denver, but because of the system on the zigzag, they kind of protected their liability a little bit because they knew where everybody was going.
Right.
Coach, I want to ask you a question here. Now, I know that Spoelstra is getting a ton of credit, and rightfully so. But he also had a pretty nice situation, right? Being able to come into his own as a coach with LeBron, Dwayne Wade, great players like Chris Bosh, Shane Battier out there, helping him implement his schemes and become who he is as a coach today. I'm thinking that Mike Malone is not getting the credit he deserves. Obviously, I'm a little biased. He was a hometown guy. he really seemed to get the best out of DeMarcus Cousins. And in my mind, I think that the Kings getting rid of Malone when they did really hampered Cousins' career. I'll always go back to that. So I'm a big Mike Malone guy, and I know that the Heat have a coaching advantage, but I don't necessarily think it's as much as some people are thinking, just because Malone doesn't have that resume of success that Spoelstra does. What do you think about Malone and the adjustments he's going to be able to make tonight?
Why does Spo have a coaching advantage? Let's break it down. See, I think Malone's a great tactician. I think they're just both great basketball minds. There's no secrets in the NBA. I mean, to tell, if you want to sit and tell me that Spo is going to show Malone something that he's never seen, no, he's not. Malone has seen everything Spo's seen everything Malone. But if you Google Malone's father, that right there should tell you Malone's PhD in basketball is as good as anybody. Spo, Kerr, Pop. We make way too much out of when we start separating the top 10 coaches or the top 5, the top 3. There is no difference. Some of them have a certain way to handle certain superstars better, management. But when you're talking about X's and O's, come on. See, Spo was definitely a huge advantage over Boston's coach. That's a fact. Boston coach was caught in the headlights. But Spo's not doing anything to Malone that Malone hasn't seen. Malone's team didn't show up the first 5 minutes a game, too. So is Spo a better coach than Malone? That's fair. But is he night and day? No. Is Malone can coach with anybody. There's not a coach in the NBA that's going to come out on the floor and run a scheme, and Malone's going to say, what is this? He's seen it all.
See, I think that people are taking a little bit too much into that as well, because as we know, we always talk about the spread. We got so much respect for Coach Malone. And just like Coach said, he, second generation coach. His dad was a really good coach and a tactician. So
remind me real quick, who's his dad? I'm sure I watched him as a kid.
Is it Brendan Malone, right, Coach?
I think it's Brendan Malone. I forget.
Yeah,
I think
Brendan Malone. Yeah,
was he ever a head coach or was he an assistant coach?
No, he was a head coach.
Head coach. He was an X and O guy. He was a no nonsense guy. Yeah, no, he's very well respected in the NBA. I read tweets from Warriors Twitter. I hope Kerr's watching what Spo's doing. Spo ain't doing nothing.
Crazy.
I'm sitting on a sofa. Spo hasn't done anything I haven't seen before. So you think Kerr hasn't seen it? I mean, people make way too much of it.
And I'm glad you said that too, Coach. You know why I'm glad you said that is because he's actually patterned his defense after what the Warriors did with Kerr and Mike Brown last year against the Nuggets. That's how they became successful in Game 2.
Well, exactly. Well, let me first of all, here's what people don't understand. I saw some tweets after Spo said trained and untrained eyes. They were asking if Kerr has untrained eyes.
What?
Spo?
Wow.
Seriously, that was a tweet. Now, here's the crazy part. Let me tell you about basketball coaches. We're the biggest thieves that ever existed. All we do is watch other tapes of other teams and steal. That's what we do. If you think Spo didn't have his video guys go get last year's Warriors tapes for the Nuggets and take a look at it, he absolutely did. They took away the cutters. They took away the backline cutters, and made Jokic score. Took away the passing lane. Where did that come from? I don't know. But I saw Kerr do it last year.
Exactly.
There's no secrets. Now, I'll tell you what Spo does do that I think he needs credit for. Spo's like Larry Brown. He gets a lot out of less. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But he also went 2-2 with a super team. See, people forget about that. Sometimes guys don't do. See, people think when you have a stacked team and a loaded team, anybody can coach it. It's actually the opposite. Anybody can coach it. Anybody can coach a team that's not expected to win. Anybody can coach a team with less talent because there's no expectations. Coach a team that you're supposed to win every single game and win it by big margins. That's hard to do. And people
and you're dealing with egos too at that point too. And that's another thing. You have to be a psychologist when you're in a position where you're dealing with a bunch of really good guys.
Warriors Twitter will not appreciate Steve Kerr until 30-30 comes out. And when they see all the shit he had to put up with, then they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that expectations. Let's look at two Boston Celtics assistants, right? Joe Mazzulla and Will Hardy at Utah. Everyone thinks that Will Hardy did a great job. They weren't even 500, right? But they were expected to have one of the worst records in the league. Joe, but he didn't have to go, matchup for matchup against guys like Eric Spoelstra and things like that. He didn't have the expectations of a championship team. I agree with you there. And I'll tell you what, Coach, I mean, it's just the way that Twitter is and, 24-hour news cycle. I care if Twitter was around 25 years ago, I bet you Lakers fans would be calling for Phil Jackson's head. That's how crazy these guys are. They want to fire a coach after every losing game. There's only one champion every year. You can do a great job. You can be a great coach, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a championship. And one more thing about Kerr, because I know you're big on Warriors Twitter, and I read all your interactions back and forth with a really passionate fan base. Steve Kerr went on the Draymond Green show, and a lot of people think that he was making inferences to that locker room. Did you see that clip, and what were your thoughts, Coach?
There was an agenda. I'm not sure what the agenda is. but here's
short-term winning. Short-term winning. That's it.
Well, I had quite a few tweets on this, I think yesterday or the day before. I don't understand Draymond and Curry even getting into it, first of all. And they used Miami to leapfrog into the Warriors by everybody buying in. And that opened the door for Curry to go after people who were complaining about minutes, et cetera, et cetera. Now, as much as I've been a big Kerr supporter, he has been a big flaw in this year in the two timeline. But the vets are in his ear, and the vets are attached to his hip. It's not Kerr alone; it's the Kerr and the vets. Now I'm trying to piece. Why did Bob Myers book? I'm trying to piece. Bob Myers makes 3 draft picks. Kerr don't like his draft picks. Won't even play his draft picks. Plays two-way players over his draft picks. Myers and Kerr obviously must have a beef. So there's so much going on behind the scenes. But is Kerr the problem? Is the vets the problem? Are they together as a problem? But the leadership was bad with the young players. That punch, in my view, and I'm just guessing, you had a punch at a practice, you had a leaked video, and you had no suspension. That fractured the team to me. Green had no responsibility in it. What was his price? Nothing. And now Poole's getting killed and dragged. Why would Poole want to come back next year? Why would any Warrior want to play for our fan base? If your name ain't Green, Clay, or Steph and you're not producing, they're going to run you out of town and drag you through the water. I just don't understand where we're going with all this. And I don't understand what Kerr's point was. Kerr called a lot of people out without naming names.
They don't want to turn the page, Coach. That's what it is. It's basically they don't want to turn the page. They see a window of them being able to try to get up there with the numbers like Kobe and Magic and Mike. And I don't agree with it either. I'm about a long term with franchises. I believe in getting rid of guys a year early. Me personally, but I know where they're coming from. I see his angle.
Well, is it also contracts and money too? Green and Clay are coming up. Are we trying to see one thing about Kerr? He's loyal to his 3 dudes to a fault.
Yeah.
Steph's loyal.
I want to ask you about this, Coach. One of the rumors, and of course this is a Twitter rumor, no substantiation to it all, but that Bob Myers left because he simply knows that Draymond Green is not worth the money and he shouldn't be brought back, but he doesn't really want to be the guy that has to do that. What do you think about Dre's contact situation? As a Warriors fan, do you want him back? And do you think that could have anything to do with Myers leaving?
Let me phrase it this way. I don't think Myers wanted to make the tough decisions this year, and I don't think Myers and Kerr were on the same page. And I think Myers had the attitude, it doesn't matter what I do, is Kerr going to play him? I mean, look at the trade deadline. They traded a 7-footer for a 6-footer that was damaged goods.
Yeah, I can't believe they got rid of Wiseman.
I mean, I'm not here to protect Wiseman. You want to trade Wiseman, fine. But you don't trade 7 feet for a 6-footer who's playing 15 to 17 minutes and he's damaged goods. Peyton wasn't the same this year. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
So
that was the fan base moving stuff. That's crazy that the fan base has that much power on their decisions.
Here's the Warriors. The Warriors, I mean, I don't know what they can do with their cap situation. I don't know what they can do with the new CBA. I just don't know what their moves are. And then they've trashed everybody so bad nobody has any value. You want to trade Poole and you want superstars back. Meanwhile, you spend all day telling me Poole's trash. What are we doing? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't think he'll be back.
It's and then Kerr's only got 1 year left on his contract. And here's another secret. We all saw Monty Williams' contract. What is Kerr going to want if he wants to come back?
That's not an issue for that team, though.
Yeah, but is Lakeland going to pay a coach 15 to 20 million?
I don't see
Every dynasty comes to an end. Steve Kerr probably go to TV, back to TV, man. He's been.
Well, see,
TV,
that's another problem.
He go to TV, man. He likes media. He's one of those guys. He likes media. He might be kind of. What I get from both of those guys, I don't see how Kerr's made it this long. I thought he would have retired a couple years ago. I was seeing fatigue in him, with interviews and things like that. I'm surprised he's still coaching, honestly.
Well, the problem with Kerr is, I really think he don't give a shit. I think if Lakeland or somebody leaned on him, he'd just say, "Fire me. I don't care."
Yeah,
because you guys got what, 9 rings, 11 rings? How many rings this guy got?
And how bad is TNT and ESPN going to fight over signing him? Like, come on. He's going to be on TV the next day.
Well, is San Antonio going to make a $15 million to $20 million offer for Kerr?
They might too. The thing is, with this new CBA, that's going to be the only advantage you can get is going to be in coaching and scouting, because you're not going to be able to manipulate the cap like you did before. And it came down to the NFL. When the NFL cap really got tough, they went really hard line. The differences in the main organizations is they spend more on coaches, they spend more on facilities, and they spend more on scouting.
What was the worst?
The NBA too.
In my view, what was the worst thing that happened to the Warriors this year? Was they beat the Kings. I think if the Kings would have finished them off and beat them, we'd have a different discussion and a completely different lens. The fact that they beat the Kings in 7, they made it to the second round. Now they got excuses with the Lakers, this and that. They still think they're good enough to run it back and win. No, you're not. That team is not good enough to run it back and win. That team is aging. No. That team is old, and they can't guard.
They're very old. They're very old now.
And they should have changed. And beating the Suns, in my view, hurt a lot of people's lens. They'd have been better off losing. The Kings. They'd have been better off losing to the Kings, first round exit. Then they make better decisions. Because the Kings should have beat them. Kings were the better team.
Yeah,
that's where that experience came into play, though.
Well, there again, back to Kerr. Kerr made 2 great adjustments in Game 7 that put Brown in the mud, and Brown didn't adjust. But nobody wants to talk about that, because Warriors Twitter will tell you all day Brown's a better coach than Kerr. They always want the backup.
So what were the 2 adjustments? Refresh my memory here. What do you think?
First thing, Mike Brown came out with the high ball on the high ball screen trap and was causing Curry troubles with it. Curry was having a lot of turnovers because he was trying to pass over the top to the roller. What Curry and Steph did, instead of passing to the roller, they passed it to the wing, and then the wing took off to the roller, and then the game was on. And Brown never adjusted. He kept letting the Warriors play that way, and that gave Curry the space and open court, and Curry went and torched them. The second adjustment he made, he started going under screens on Monk and Fox and took away the downhill and made them on the perimeter player. And that put their offense in the mud. And then the rebounding in the third quarter with Looney torched them. If they win the rebound game, they might have survived it. But they didn't because of rebound. But the biggest adjustment was taking the ball at the half court on the trap. Instead of going over the top, because Curry was struggling with that because of his size, they went to the side, to the wing, and then they went. And that opened it up. But Brown never adjusted, and that pick and roll got torched.
And with that said, getting back Game 3 tonight, getting back to that, the coaching, people are blowing up this Nuggets team because they're a great regular season team. They played really well in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, they swept the Lakers. We saw all that, but we didn't see the adjustments that we've seen implemented by Eric Spoelstra, which you said he patterned after the success the Warriors had last year with them. I haven't seen the Nuggets win in that manner yet, and that's what makes me still like the Heat in this series, because think about it. If you play it the way that they're playing it, where you make it where everybody on the Nuggets has to go one-on-one, they're hurting. Because all of those guys, they built the perfect team around Joker. They
Well,
play
Malone's
off the
going.
catch, man. They play off the
Malone.
catch and they play off the cut. They don't play with the ball one on one. They can't. If you make them go one on one, they're gonna have problems.
But Malone's going to fix that tonight. See, by putting Butler on Murray, it kind of took away the pick and roll and took away Murray, softened it up. They'll fix that. The jokey screen, even if they run a double stack, they're going to get rid of Butler off of Murray, and then Murray will be playing downhill tonight. That's an adjustment that I think we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
I'll
faith
look
in
for that.
Malone too. We'll see how this one goes.
But you'll see an adjustment. You'll see an adjustment tonight from
You
Malone.
can make adjustments, but if the thing is, if you come out with the philosophy that we're not helping on Joker, regardless of whatever, we're not helping on Joker. We're going to make Joker go one on one on his man now, and you cover the shooters. It doesn't matter what type of adjustments you play. Now it boils down to man against man basketball, and that's the problem that I see with the Nuggets. They don't have any guys who could just put the ball on the ground and go get a basket. Murray's probably the closest thing, and he's not. He's really a catch and shoot guy too. You know, he's a two guard playing point guard.
Well, they're not built that way. They're built to go through Jokic.
Yeah,
Exactly. So now you make Joker score 60 or 70 to beat you, 50, 60 to beat you, and that's going to be the
one thing I want
problem.
to say though is it's not
Yeah,
like
but-
this adjustment caused Miami to blow the doors off Denver.
Well, no, wait a
And
minute.
that
Murray
confidence-
makes that 3-pointer at the end.
Wait, let's back
But
up.
that's the same thing that the Nuggets are holding on to, and they're very overconfident going into this game. I heard KCP talking about we didn't even play good and we should have beat them. All right.
Well, here's the problem. Denver's offense, a lot of it starts on the defense, and their defense didn't show up game two. That's where they're going to win the game tonight. They're going to win or lose on their defense tonight.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah.
We can sit here and talk about all the offense adjustments. If Denver's defense don't lead into their offense, then you're right, they won't win.
Yeah, because it's been open gym for the Heat shooters. You Strus and all their shooters, man. Robinson, they all are getting wide open looks. Every time they shoot, it's not even a hand in their face. You know, I haven't seen the Nuggets really contest. I don't know what they're doing defensively. As you said, got some young guys with some cocky attitudes. We'll see if they can adjust. You know, Jokic is a very quiet leader. So who's going to be the guy to speak up in that Denver locker room? Probably Jeff Green, you know, but what has he won? So we have to see if Denver can mature tonight, because it all boils down to what their coach said, effort. They weren't playing hard. They're not playing like the finals. They're playing like they're just in the regular season, and they were good enough to do that against the Lakers with a team that wasn't making the adjustments or didn't have the manpower that the Heat does as far as playing one-on-one defense and being able to make it where they can't. You know, as long as you doubling Joker, which is automatically what you think to do. We're going to double Joker. He has the ball triple. And now you got these guys who are dead-eye shooters, wide open shooting practice drill jumpers. You know, so if you make these guys play one-on-one, they're going to be in trouble. But defense, as you said, coach, is the key.
Let's not forget now, Denver had a 15-point lead. They stopped playing. See, that's the problem. See, I agree the shooting is one thing and the make shots is another, miss shots. I get all that is fair on both sides. But Denver stopped playing. Their deal is effort intensity. They didn't play like it was a finals game. And if they're not going to play like it's a finals game, they get their ass handed to them.
So who's going to make them step up and play like that? That's what I'm saying. Because we know
I think losing does. I think losing, just like the Celtics.
No, the finals. The word the finals. If that don't make you,
they haven't showed me that. They haven't showed me that anyone on that team has that personality.
Well, you might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just telling you, if that doesn't get them ready, then they're not going to get ready. Then they're going to get beat. Here's what
I'm still holding my Heat ticket. And it has life. So it's in my pocket, breathing.
Okay, well, first of all, most gamblers bet to get the ticket. They don't bet to cash the ticket. They want the high. So let's get rid of the ticket. You're doing it to get the high.
Oh, no, never be. I'm doing it with strategy. I'm sitting at $1 million home, coach, and guess what I paid for it? I guess I paid for it. I don't want to say too much, but I would just put it like this. It didn't come from me going to do a 9 to 5.
I'm messing with you. You're one of the But it's I don't know. We'll find out tonight. Here's what I will say. If both teams show up and play their A game, who wins?
Denver.
I don't agree.
Oh, Denver's high is so much higher than Miami's high.
So
yeah, I agree. If they can execute and do what they want to do, that's the key to it. That's
what we're saying. We're saying if both teams play their best, Denver's going to win.
Okay, but
So
you can play if Denver plays their best and they make it where Joker scores 60, they're still gonna lose because the
If
only
Denver
way they
plays
can
their best, they're
win.
going to put up 130.
okay, hold on a second. Let me set this straight.
I don't
Here's what
see it.
partner's saying. Here's what partner's saying. The books put out a number, okay? They put out a number. Now the cartels and the wise guys come in and bet against that number. They're either going to respect that number or they're not going to respect that number. And they're going to move that number to where they feel the right number should be. Now, once that number gets corrected and set, the wise guys like who we're talking to right now, he don't like the number. He says they got the wrong number. Okay, fine. He bet it and he backed it up with his mouth, with his cash. Now,
Right.
once the cartel and the wise guys set the real number, the public's not betting against the books no more. The public is betting against the wise guy number now. See, a lot of people don't understand. The books put the number out for the cartel and the wise guys because they're the ones going to fire first. They're going to correct that number. Now the
Right.
public gets the worst of it because they're going to bet in. The public's actually betting against the wise guys, not the book. So what he's saying is by taking Miami, his belief is the odds maker got the wrong number. Okay, he might be right. We're going to find out.
Yeah, and I can't wait. And, I could be wrong too. And this is kind of just for fun. I'm playing devil's advocate because he's getting me fired up, on the Nuggets here. This is going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, this is a great series, and I think it's even better for fans than gamblers. I personally, regular season is great to me. I can run numbers, just keep an eye on the games, know which tendencies are hot. This is really it's a tougher time, I think, to be profitable, but it's a lot of fun to watch these games.
It's just difficult for me to see the type. Denver's to me is overrated. That's just me personally. I just feel
Yeah, I
like
know.
they're
That's why I
overrated.
think that.
Yeah, I feel that way. I've been like that telling you that all season. I think they're a good team.
Well,
Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's a mild difference between them and the Heat like people are thinking. People are saying like because what they're getting caught up in is the fact that the Heat have the 8th seed, but they're not looking at the fact that the Heat just lost in the finals 2 years ago and just was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They
right.
just had a down year in the regular season. This is a organization who's been there before, and that from the top down is a winning organization, starting with Pat Riley. And that's what I think the people are underestimating with this. I take a lot with ownership and franchises because you can't be successful without it coming from the top. So we'll just see, if it's the Nuggets
Yeah.
time. They're a
And one
good
thing,
team. Don't get me wrong, they're a really good team, but I don't know if they're a great team like how people are, thinking. And good teams win the championship. The Bucks just did it. We saw the Bucks win the championship as we wouldn't say a great team. They were a good team. Katie, was 2 inches too short on the 3-pointer, so he didn't knock him out, and they got on the roll. Giannis was playing like the best player in the world, and they won the championship. But do you consider them a great team? And I consider the Nuggets kind of similar to that Milwaukee team where they have a great player that's arguably the best in the world with a bunch of pieces that need him. If they're without him, they're nothing. They have to shoot well. They have to shoot high percentage from the 3-point line. And if they do that and play defense, which is the key, as coach said, both of them, it's all about the defense so they can get out and run and get easy baskets. Because in the half court set, they're not going to get as many easy baskets when you have those type of pieces around. You don't have a couple of guys who can just break people down off the dribble. That's all I'm saying.
Let's get back to the numbers. Since 1986, 75% of the favorite wins the best out of 7 series. Miami this year has been in the 25% every round, and the 25% is winning. It happens. It's not the norm, but it happens.
Yeah, it's not.
And Denver's not your normal number 1 seed, right? This is one of the lowest.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. They got the best player in the world on their team. So, I mean, usually
I'm
the
just
NBA
saying,
playoffs,
usually your number 1 seeds won like 63 games. What Denver won? 57, 58?
Well,
Exactly.
this year,
One
I
of the
mean,
lowest.
I've been screaming this year that the seeds were irrelevant. It was going to be chaos. I've tweeted that all year.
It's going to get worse and worse too. With these guys sitting out.
Well, you know what's funny? That 75-25% might be over because with the new CBA and the new cap and all that, you might be right. We might be seeing different teams every year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that way because it's going to be hard to keep these guys together. And I don't know. It can go either way. I didn't like it when they did it at football first, and I think it turned out better, right? To not have – I mean, I remember in the 90s, we just waited around till the 49ers and the Cowboys.
49ers and the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's all you waited on.
I bought – let me tell you something. 49ers, Cowboys, I bought rentals on the 6-point teaser, 2-game teaser with those two teams. I
Yeah.
didn't even look at the card. I didn't even look
Yeah.
who they was playing. I didn't care. Give me Cowboys -6. Give me the Niners -6. Adjust it. That's all I'm doing. I don't even want to watch. I don't
Yeah.
need to.
And I'm glad you said that, Coach, because I always speak about how I've been betting sports about 20 years. You about the same, right, Spread? About 20 years or so?
Since
Probably
I was
not as
12.
long, seriously.
Yeah. I've been betting seriously for 20 years, and I know you've been going longer than us, Coach, because I've started just
19.
like you
Wait a
when I
minute.
was a youngster. I was
Not
14 when I really
19.
got into, betting.
1968 Super Bowl one, Packers -14. My grandfather didn't want to move it to 14.5. I kept telling him he wouldn't do it. I've been doing.
So
I
so
grew.
you
I grew
you
up in
grew up
that.
in a bookie house, in a house,
Exactly. Yeah.
and I ran my own first book, at 19, with some Greek guys in Houston who still have a book going. It's one of the most popular books, and I'm the only one that could go to the hood and make bets. Back then they didn't mess with the hood. They didn't want your word wasn't
You
good,
know.
so they didn't want any neighborhood bets. I was the one that made the neighborhood in South Side of Houston legit, where they were taking bets from us, and I, managed all of those accounts and all that stuff before. I started coming to Vegas and making bets myself. But I'm saying all that to say, with all our experience, you guys understand that those days are gone forever. That you just said, that, yeah, that
Cowboys.
we could just make easy
Cowboys.
money in the book, man.
Cowboys and Niners would be -7, 7.5 every week. Give me -1, -1.5. Book it. I don't even care. It
Me
was.
and my boy, had one too, Coach. We used to call the little form the Brady, Breeze, Manning, and Aaron Rodgers if he's at home, and we would tease all of those four every week together and load up on them. It was easy money. Easy money every week. But those days are long gone, and it's because the access to sports betting. I want to find out from a veteran bookmaker like yourself, a handicapper who grew up in the house, where they set lines and set numbers. You have a really intricate understanding of how lines come about and the process. What do you think, Coach, about the new way where everyone can bet everywhere? We're hearing all these stories about
Well,
NFL players
it's
betting, and I'm
a
sure other
problem.
guys betting too.
Well, no. First of all, hold on. I'm not going to drop no names on your show because I don't want to get you guys with me. Let me tell you something. This has been going on for years. If I drop the names of players that either book through our book, our other books, Twitter would crash. This is
Right.
nothing new. Now that these NFL's got in bed with the bookmaker, now they're surprised because they got players betting. Here's the ignorance, though. Now, I don't understand how these little machines work that we have in our hand. I do understand that there's, they can follow you in GPS. I get all that. But if you're betting through another person's account, but you're on the facility, how are they catching you?
Yep.
I don't understand that. And the second thing I don't understand, why the fuck are you giving up your career for a $50 bet or a $100 bet? That I don't.
Unbelievable.
I mean, if you're going to be on the inside and you're going to play, let's play big money and let's really break the law.
Yeah. Let's
But
catch a Fed case.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if the Fed's been following you around the neighborhood for a couple months, you haven't done nothing yet.
Right.
I mean, when
Yeah.
the Feds follow you for 12 months, now you're doing something.
Now you doing something. Yeah, I just don't understand it. But let's finally get your final thoughts before we let you get out of it. We appreciate you for pushing the time. We know you said you had a few minutes, man. And like I said, your words of wisdom, we really appreciate it on this show, Coach. What's your final thoughts on tonight's game? What are you thinking overall on the series? What are you looking to happen?
If my doctor took all my play away from me, but if I was playing, he did.
Only on the wager world.
He did. My doctor took all my play away from me. But if I was playing tonight, I'm laying big. I mean, big Denver. Now, I've been wrong every game on Miami. So don't follow me. Because you follow me,
Right.
you might follow me right into the cardiologist. Don't go with me. It's not a good place to go. So it is what it is. I just can't see Denver. I mean, I see one thing I do. Here's one thing I do as a kid, just been around the odds making since I was a little boy. I've always respected the odds maker. And when an odds maker has a game, a series at -270, or has 8, 9 point favorites at home, I respect that. And once in a while you're going to catch L's, and once in a while you're going to go through bad streaks. But if you do it long enough, you'll end up looking at the loan shark phone book and trying to get loans. You got to be very careful. So, but right now, I mean, if you told me Miami's going to win tonight and you backed it with cash, I wouldn't push back.
Right.
You've been more right than I've been right. So,
Like you said, the way that we approach with sports betting with the line makers, just like you said, I've been around the books as well, not as much as you. They set these lines for a reason, but I've been telling Spread the last 2 years, right, Spread, that corporate betting has taken over sports betting. So the way that they used to set lines, they don't set them anymore. It used to be set for, as we know, to get 50%, 50%, where they just eat off the vig. Now they setting trap lines, and all these lines are to get one-sided action, so they can scrape it all up, and that's the angle that I'm on tonight with.
well, the smartest thing books did was doing live betting, because the more I get you to fire at me, the more I'm going to beat you. I tell
Your
people
whole
all the time,
profit gone by the end of the game because you're not patient. Your whole I used to do it all the time.
you can't do it. I tell people all the time, do not live bet. You're walking right into the house and handing your money. See, I'll leave you guys with this. You walk into a sports book and you see 40, 50 windows taking action. Come back after the games, you'll see 2 windows paying out. There's a reason for that.
That's right. That's right. And you want to be one of those 2 guys, and you always are, Coach. We appreciate everything that you do for us, man, and we'll talk to you very, very soon, man.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, peace,
Thanks,
Coach.
All right.
Always great. On Twitter, Ricky G, man, he's a unbelievable follow. One of the guys who really has some insight on what's going on with that Warriors organization, and has been watching NBA for many, many years. I gotta speak to you real quick before we get off into the Ball and Parlay about the Zion situation, man. This is the type of stuff why it hurts to
I
have.
watched that all morning and I have nothing to say about it. You go ahead.
It's hard. It's hard on these young kids. One, I don't agree with what he did, but I also can understand what he did because you're young with a lot of money, and sometimes your little head is, thinking for your big head, and he's been around here slipping, messing with some really certain type of women. But all I can say is that 20 years ago, we would have never known this. How many
Yeah.
NBA players, I'm sure, that have babies by porn stars and slept with porn stars? Hell, Magic Johnson tell you he got AIDS from, orgies with porn stars. So just some crazy news to hear that about Zion, because he does not look like the kind of guy that would be into what he's into. But that's the thing about social media now. And y'all follow Ricky G at J. Richard Goodman. That's the Twitter. He has one of the best pinned tweets in the history of Twitter. Coach said, "I did cocaine for 20 years, top grade. I quit on the spot, no problem. But Twitter, I can't quit this shit. It's amazing." That's one of the best pinned tweets on Twitter, man. Let's get to the Ball and Parlay Spread.
All right, we'll start with you. You got some winners for us. Let's do the baseball first.
All right, we're gonna go with first the New York Yankees, the hated Yankees. As a Houston Astros fan, I can't stand them, but my money likes them tonight because they're facing Lance Lynn in the first 5. We're gonna go with the first 5, cut the game in half. The Yankees are playing against the lowly White Sox. The White Sox have been playing better of late, but they did beat the Yankees yesterday in a close one, 3-2. So I expect the Yankees to come out looking for a victory today. And most of all, they face Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn has not been good. He has an away ERA right now of 5.5. Last game against the Angels, he got smacked in 4 innings for 8 runs. And I think that he's just holding on. He's one of those guys that used to be a great pitcher, but it seems like after they took whatever the substances that they could use to grip the ball, he hasn't been the same since. And I expect the Yankees to tee off on him early and try to set the tone early to get a victory. So we're going to just take the first 5 innings. I don't like to get to those relief pitchers. It gets crazy after the 5th inning. So we're going to go Yankees first 5. We're also going to take another hated team of an Astro fan like myself, and that's the Texas Rangers, man. Texas Rangers have been playing really good. They got the Cardinals. The Cardinals are having a down season. The Rangers have been lights out at home, and they got one of their horses on the mound tonight in John Gray. Flattery is pretty good for St. Louis, but he's not near the quality of pitcher as John Gray. And also the bats for the Rangers have been really, really good. The Rangers on a winning streak. I think they've won now. I think they've won about 6 straight games, man, and they're looking to continue their home winning streak. And we're going to ride with them tonight. I also had to throw in a little tennis for you guys. We were gone a couple days. I owe you guys some winners, so let's get a 4-piece today. We're going to go with Mukova plus 4.5. You guys know I'm a big fan of Mukova. She's been dealing with injuries the past 2 years where it kept her from hitting her apex, but she's a really good player. She's one of the most versatile girls on the tour. She could do so much. She could play from the baseline. She could slice. She can hammer the two-hander. She can approach the net. She has great agility, plays good defense. She's just a sound player. And I think that she gives Sabalenka, who's not always a consistent player, who plays in spurts and bursts. And if she's hot, she'll mow you. But a lot of times she has her ups and downs in the matches. We saw against Sloan when she almost lost that match in the first set, up 5-1, and allowed Sloan to come all the way back and get it to a tiebreaker. But she was fortunate to get out of that one and then took control in the second set. I think Mukova can hang around and get it to a tiebreaker and maybe lose by 3 games or so, maybe even win a set. So we're going to go with Caroline Mukova against my girl Sabalenka with the spread, the plus 4.5 games. And then last but not least, I'm the only one in the whole country that's taking the heat. All right, but give me the 3. I got the 3 spread. You guys, if you got the 2.5, I got the 3, and that half a point is worth buying. So if you on your book you're throwing 2.5, please take it to 3. Get the plus 3, man. It's going to be a tight one, but I think that Miami gets it done. We've seen Miami in close games how they perform. We've seen how Miami performs at home. They're 6-3. They took their first losses on the road. At home in the playoffs against Boston. Before that, they were undefeated. But I think that they kind of figured out the Nuggets more than my co-host does. I think that the Nuggets are going to have a difficult time tonight being able to beat the Heat at home, because I think that the shooters are going to be guarded, and I think they're going to make it where it has to be Joker's going for 60. And I don't think that he has enough wind to do that. So we're going with the Heat plus 3 at home.
I'm going to take Gabe Vincent over 13.5 points. He's the 3rd leading scorer for the Heat this postseason. For the whole postseason, he's averaging 13.9 points per game. But in the finals, it's up to 21 points per game. He's gone over 13.5 in 5 of his last 6 games. During the postseason, he's shooting 41.3% from 3-point range. He's averaging for the finals, averaging 13 field goal attempts per game and 8 3-pointers per game. So you give me that type of usage, I'm going to take your point prop. Give me Gabe Vincent over 13.5. And if you want a bonus going off what you were talking about earlier, if you think they're going to continue to single cover Jokic, then you take under on KCP. He's one of those guys that's a spot-up shooter. He's not going to create his own shot. If they put a lot of pressure on Jokic, he's going to be right there. But I just don't think he's going to get the usage. So these are 2 usage player prop bets. Vincent over, KCP under.
I like those a lot, especially over on Vince. He's been on a real heater. Hey, man, we've been gone a while. We'll be back again. Friday, right?
Friday. So, yeah, it'll be good for us because we'll go Friday and then the weekend's off and then we'll be back on Monday after that because that game plan will be on Monday night.
Yep, so we'll go with Friday and give you guys a breakdown of what we saw tonight's game, and then after that we'll give you the picks for that game that's that night, and also I'll give you some USFL. We'll continue to be hot on that and talk a little tennis too. Anything for the people before we get out of the spread?
Now looking forward to an exciting game tonight.
All right, man. We'll talk to you guys soon. Best of luck to y'all tonight.